Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Short Hops with manager Kevin Hooper. Short Hops is a weekly program that gives you, the fans, the opportunity to ask the Wichita Wingnuts skipper questions about the Wingnuts, baseball, sports, or just life in general. This week, Kevin talks to us about what's going on with the Kaiser Carlisle donations and fundraiser that they're having this Friday prior to the Wingnuts game. We also get some information from Kevin about what's been going on with roster moves. Kevin shares with us some of his insights about what's going on in the major leagues and his opinion about who would be the top manager in the American Association so far this season. Plus, we learn what Kevin really thinks about me. So let's get right to Short Hops. All right, we want to welcome back manager Kevin Hooper. Kevin, thank you again for joining us this week. I'd like to first of all begin by talking about the fundraiser that the Wingnuts have going on for Kaiser Carlisle this Friday. So could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, it should be a fun night. Just representing a tragedy that unfortunately happened, but we all know Kaiser's in a better place now, and as unfortunate as that was, but big fundraiser we're putting on Friday night. We've obviously been in contact with a lot of sources. I've been in contact with a lot of my buddies. I know Nate has as well at the big league level, just trying to get some donations. Couple on my end, Mike Pelfrey's a great friend of mine with the Twins, and I think he's sending us a signed ball and jersey of his own, plus a team signed ball, plus Glenn Perkins is signing a ball, and then I think Torrey Hunter's signing a bat as well that they're sending in. And Curtis Granderson's another guy that I reached out to, and I don't know what Grandy's going to be putting together. He didn't even mention. He just said he'll get some stuff out from the team, so from the Mets. So couple guys on my end of things. Another guy, Miguel Cabrera, signed that. Obviously, a guy that Nate and I, is part of the Detroit organization. Some big name stuff that they've got. And like I said, hopefully we can raise quite a bit of money just to go to the foundation and to help them out and his family out of all the expenses that came about. And, because we're on board with anything that we can do to help, we're going to do, obviously, because it was a tragedy that's close to our hearts and close to home for us.
Well, that is very impressive, Kevin, and I think that should be kind of a sign out there to people that believe that players are kind of just in the game for the money, that's just not the case at all. These guys really care.
Oh, absolutely, and hopefully let's, any people around the area that are listening to this, let's get some people out there Friday night. And like I said, support this, obviously, tragedy that unfortunately happened and get as many people in those stands and raise as much money as we can for that evening.
Kevin, before we get into this week's show, I came across an interesting article that I just wanted to ask you about. It related to Wichita State baseball. There was some discussion about possibly one of the reasons why you weren't offered the job. Actually, not possibly. They made it sound this way, that you were not even considered for the job, was that there's an impression that you did not finish your bachelor's degree. Is that correct?
That is false. I do have my degree. I actually finished in December of 2013, and finally got my degree. I was 16 hours short once I left Wichita State, and obviously playing for so long, you just never had time to continue and to finish. And like a lot of guys, it was in my contract where it was paid for by the Marlins, and once I was done playing, I took full advantage of that, where you have to start that within a couple of years, and I was able to finish. So, I've heard many people talk about that, whether I do or whether I don't have that degree. I don't think that is an excuse of why I wasn't considered. I would think the AD and whoever was in charge up there would know the facts of that I did and whatnot. But I know a lot of fans, I think, question that and maybe think that is a reason why I didn't. But I did have my degree when all that happened also, when that job was open. So, yes, the myth is answered. I do have my degree, and like I said, if that opportunity ever comes about, we'll weigh our options when it comes.
Well, that's good to hear, because if that was somebody who was under the wrong impression and that was keeping you from a job like that, there's no reason to...
Yeah, right. But like I said, I know I've heard from many people around town that a lot of people wonder if I ever did get my degree. And yes, folks, I did get my degree, and I'm ready to roll.
That's what I like to hear. See, brilliant manager, brilliant guy. There we go.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay, so let's talk about a lot of transactions you've had going on this past week, Kevin. So first of all, let's start with Scott Kuzminski went to the disabled list. Is that correct?
Yes, he did, and he's actually going to be activated tonight. To answer another question that you probably don't know about, talking about a guy, Frankie Reed, I know we've mentioned in the past with his oblique injury that he's had. He actually threw Thursday night at home, and then we went to Laredo after the game Thursday, and we got to Laredo, and he played a little catch and flared right up, and he said it felt like he actually had done it all over again the first time. So called him in the office. We had a nice little conversation, and Frankie's going to be done for the season, unfortunately. That's a big hit to us because we really relied on him being a lefty down there and a very good lefty at that. So he's going to head home here soon after we get home from this road trip and try to get healthy and let it rest and, hopefully get himself ready to continue to do this and put this uniform on again next year.
Wow, that's too bad to hear.
So Kuzminski will be activated tonight in Frankie Reed's place.
Okay. Joash Broden, what is that? What's his status with you?
Yes, we just made a move there. We're trying to switch some things up, especially the way we've been struggling offensively, and decided to make a move. And the big move for Joash pretty much was bringing on Andy LaRoche. And boy, is he going to be a huge piece of this for us. He's been tremendous so far, not only on the field, but in the clubhouse and the dugout. He's just going to be a great leader for us, and guys are going to feed off of him, no doubt about it.
Speaking about Andy for a minute there, he came in and just is swinging the bat incredibly well. I think he had 8 RBIs in the first 5 games that he played for you guys. Perfect number 4 guy for you guys, it looks like.
Yeah, we needed it. We really needed it. We needed a big right-handed bat to go in the middle of that lineup, and we think we found the perfect one. We've got a relationship with him and his family. The Robertsons have known his family for years, and I've known their family for quite some time now, too. And, he had a shoulder issue. He was in big league camp with the White Sox with his brother Adam this year, and it didn't work out there, and he'd been battling a shoulder issue, and he still is actually. He's going to DH, play first base for us. We'll get him at third maybe every once in a while as long as the shoulder's holding up okay. So just a huge addition, a guy we needed in the middle of the lineup. It's been spectacular for us so far, and I think he's just going to get better and better the more at-bats that he gets.
Paul Smythe looks like he's taken over the closer's role for you. How did you come about bringing him onto the team?
Yeah, Paul Smythe's a KU guy, actually. He played his college ball in Lawrence, where I was born and raised, and he was in the Atlantic League doing really well. We needed a closer, and we've been kind of having the closer by committee, and his name came up, and it was a situation, I guess, where they were going to move him, and they gave him the total option of where he was going to go, and he wanted them to weigh every option he had for every team in the Atlantic League, and he also wanted them to speak to Wichita. I don't know, honestly, how that came about with us. I think he maybe just heard through the grapevine that it was a great place to play and a great place to be, and he actually spoke to a couple of scouts about it, I think, and I was very humbled hearing that, and a guy like this who continues to go about his business in the Atlantic League wanted to speak to Wichita and the American Association. We were the only team that he mentioned, and we had a great time here in Kansas, but you also think about it, and I thought, well, gee, the T-Bones are 20 minutes from Lawrence, Yeah. So whatever he heard about Wichita, and I know him and Dan Sattler are buddies, and he's got some other mutual buddies that I know well. Whatever he heard was obviously good, and for us to be even in the picture, like I said, was very humbling, and I spent probably an hour on the phone with him at multiple occasions, and we just had some good conversations about some things, and ideally it came down to us and 3 other Atlantic League teams, and fortunately he chose us.
Well, that's sure working out well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, working out really well. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy, too.
Brad Orsi added by you a few days ago. Tell me a little bit about what role he's going to have for you.
Yeah, Brad actually finished out the year in the Pecos League, and those guys got done, and I know his manager pretty well, and he sent him up to throw a bullpen along with some other guys, some position players, and we liked what we saw in the bullpen, and something actually happened that night. I don't recall what it was, but it was an opportunity to give him a chance, and I called him. He stayed for the game that night before he went home, and called him in the office and told him we were going to give him a chance, and the kid has been phenomenal so far for us. He just competes. He's not a big guy. He's a little guy, and keeps the ball down, pounds the strike zone, can work side to side, both sides of the plate, and he's going to play a big role for us. He can eat a lot of innings because he was a starter in the Pecos League, and we've used him a lot so far, and he's done a tremendous job with the opportunities we've given him.
You added two infielders as well, Taylor Smart, and brought back Corey Malo. Tell me, is this related to Luis Hernandez going on the disabled list, or how did you view these two guys coming in?
Yeah, well, we needed the veteran spot for Louis with LaRoche coming in. That was a tough decision for us. And, you know, Smart we brought in knowing that he could play shortstop. And, you know, he's made some great plays over there and done a phenomenal job. We'll continue to work with the offensive side of things with him, and you know, we're going to continue to do so. But he's made some great plays. Him and Farley turned some huge double plays yesterday in the ball game where we won 6-0. And Corey Meadow was a guy who's been around a couple times this year for us, and we needed another body. We needed a utility guy, and we thought he'd be the perfect fit. So he's back in a Wingnut uniform, and we're happy to have him.
For fans that didn't see last night, 4 double plays while Eddie Medina was pitching yesterday, so that was nice defense.
Yeah, it was excellent. We played really well yesterday.
So we begin with our questions this week. Carl from Wichita asked, why do you think it has been so difficult for your team to beat Joplin this season?
You know, I don't know what it's been with them. We just had a tough time with them. They're a good ball club. They can pitch it really well. You know, for the most part, they play pretty good defense, and they tend to swing the bat pretty well against us as well. I'm not even sure what our record is with them on the year. I know we took 2 out of the first 3 the opening series, and then I'm not sure what our record's been lately with them. But they're a good ball club, as you can tell, the way they've played all year, and they've continued to play well all year. It's been a dogfight in our division, and it's continuing to be a dogfight at this point for the wild card with Joplin, Laredo, and Kansas City. So should be fun going down the stretch here. We obviously don't play them guys again, which I like playing the guys in our division because, you know, we can expand the gap between. And like Laredo, we just took 2 out of 3 and went into the series up 5 on them, and now we're up 6, and we'll get a chance at them 3 more times this next weekend.
Larry from Wichita would like to know, Eddie Medina is looking so good for you guys so far. What was this guy doing when you found him, and didn't anyone else see him?
Yeah, he was actually up in that North County Baseball League, which is just a really small independent league up in the Northeast. And it was kind of right time, right place for Eddie. We needed a guy to make 2 starts for Link at the time, and weighed all of our options. His name was the one that kept coming up, so we decided to give the kid a chance. He's been great so far. He's very competitive. He's a competitor, and he's very confident in what he does out there. He's not fazed by a whole lot. He goes out there and tries to pound his zone and lets his defense play behind him. He didn't have his best stuff yesterday, and it was good to see a kid so young, you know, be so mature and battle through him not being his best and still compete and get us through what he got us through and to get through 7 innings like he did.
I thought it was impressive that Laredo really was hitting him pretty hard in the first few innings, and then he just, once he got out double plays to get out of innings, he just turned it on. It was kind of like they kind of blew their opportunity.
Exactly, and there was a couple trips to the mound by Luke and I just to keep that confidence going and telling him to throw that ball with conviction and confidence and stay down in the zone, because he left quite a few balls up, and that's when he got hurt and got put in the situation he did. I think we had it up the first 3 innings. There was 10 base runners, and not one of them scored. So that's dealing with some adversity and getting out of jams.
Absolutely. Tim from Mays would like to know if you expect any of those guys from Mexico to come back now.
Well, Brent Cleveland was actually supposed to play a wild card game yesterday, the 4 versus 5, and the other one was going into the playoffs. But we're not going to get Brent back no matter what happens. I think he's pretty tired. He's wore out from a long season there. I know he's lost a lot of weight. He's ready to spend some time with his family. So he's out of the picture. Anthony Capper and Matt Navarez, they're on the same team down there in Mexico, and they are actually in the playoffs. So I believe their series starts tomorrow, and we'll just kind of see how that goes. And our deadline is actually a week from this coming Friday at midnight. So we'll see where we're at. We'll see where they're at, and go from there.
Hugo from Andover would like to know who you think has been the best manager in the American Association this season. A lot of good candidates, I have to honestly admit. So what's your impression?
Yeah, a lot of good candidates. Obviously, Carlos, Toscano, and Joplin being a first-year team, and what he's done has been very impressive, and they've been pretty steady all year long. For me, it's got to be my buddy George Samus, no doubt about it, with what he's done up there, brand new stadium, the team that he built, and I know Sioux City's also having a great year, Steve Montgomery, but we'll vote on that stuff here coming up, and it's tough to argue because Steve's done a tremendous job there in Sioux City with what they've done too. So, that is a tough question because there's a lot of candidates I think who have been the best manager. It's tough to answer because of what everybody's done and what everybody's. Not only do I look at the record, I look with what they've dealt with and what they have to deal with too. And so a lot of factors play in my mind, but there's a lot of candidates for best manager in the league this year.
It's been a really impressive year for managers, considering the fact that a guy like John Massarelli, who starts out 1-10 and then is the wild card leader, the way he's turned that team around has been unbelievable.
Absolutely, and we all have stuff we have to deal with throughout the year. Getting guys signed, losing guys to injury, and obviously we've had to battle a fair share of that as well as everybody else does in this league. But like you just said, for John to be able to do that and turn that around, and now I know they're right in the midst of that dogfight for the wild card with those three teams being within maybe 1 or 2 games, I think. So should be a fun ending to the season for sure.
And we know he'll never mention himself, but the job you've done, I was just looking at the number of pitchers that you've had this season. It's probably 23 or 24 at this point. It's amazing that you've continually built that staff and getting quality outings all the time. I'm seriously pulling a rabbit out of a hat. I'm totally amazed at the job you've done this season.
Well, thanks, Robert.
Let's see. Harold from Derby would like to know, at this point in the season, what are you looking for to complete your roster?
Well, obviously with Frankie going down, that's tough. I love having the 2 lefties down there with Frankie and Nazario. So possibly a left-handed bullpen guy, maybe one more tail-end type guy down in the bullpen as well. And it's also going to be a situation we're hitting 265 now as a team. And if a bat would become available that we can't pass on, I think it's going to be something we'll jump on. It's just a matter of what becomes available for us over this next week and a half, close to 2 weeks, because my job sitting in this chair is to make this team the best we can possibly make it. And it's no secret we've struggled offensively. Obviously, the Roach has been a huge addition. And if we can get a couple more pieces to go along with that, we're going to do so. Because, like I said, my job is to put us in the best situation we can going into the tail end of the season.
Barry from Wichita would like to know, are you even more soured on the international role after being in a few of these games?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're 0-3 with it. I do know that. And I told my staff the other night after the game, even if we were 3-0, I don't think it's been any secret my thoughts on that rule. And I hope this season's it. I do not agree with it at all and seeing the ball game that way. I'm a traditionalist. I'm an old school guy that baseball is baseball. We play 18 innings, we play 18 innings, so be it. And you're never going to get me to change my mind on that.
Wes from Mays has a couple of questions for you here. With Laredo, St. Paul, and Sioux City over the next 2 weeks, does your team need to be in playoff mode now? And is there a certain number of wins you feel you need to take away from those series?
Yeah, I think we're in playoff mode right now. I think we all know how important every single night is. And I know we're up 5-6, but that means nothing. I always talk about this time of year. I want to finish this thing. I want to finish it as soon as possible. And we've got a tough stretch coming up, and that's going to determine our season, probably those 10 games. And you kind of look at it, I think, where we're going to focus on every night. But I've mentioned before, it's kind of like that NBC trip. You go 5-5, put yourself in a good situation, probably. But I want to win every night. I want to win all 10 of them. And I'm anxious to see Sioux City and St. Paul. We have not seen them all year, so I'm anxious to see them and possibly see what we're up against coming up, in the next 3 weeks, if we can find our way into the playoffs here. So it's going to be an exciting time. It always is an exciting time of the year. And like I said, I'm anxious to see those two teams. And obviously we'll have our hands full with Laredo, as we always do.
It's an interesting opposition, so to speak, between St. Paul and Sioux City, because St. Paul is a more power-constructed team and Sioux City a much more speed-oriented team. Do you think that getting to see them before the season ends is an advantage for you heading into the playoffs?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a huge advantage for not only us, but them too. Just to be able to, maybe find some tendencies or whatever and whatnot. And, it's just crazy. You got to beat all of them. You got to beat them all. And I know that Sioux City and St. Paul are going to have to face each other in the first round if things end up the way they're ending up. So, but George and I have spoken about it too. And it really doesn't matter who you face first, because you got to beat everybody anyway. So it's going to be 4 good teams getting in, and it's going to be a battle as always.
Clay would like to know, with that pitching staff, how can the Washington Nationals be playing so badly?
Boy, I don't know. I always talk about pitching and defense, and it's crazy the way that they do pitch, that they are in the situation they're in. So that's a good question. That's a real good question. I don't know if I have the answer, because you would think they'd be doing a lot better than they are.
Yeah, a lot of big-name people on that staff, so it's kind of interesting.
Oh, a lot of big-name people.
Zach would like to know, why do you think numbers matter so much in baseball in comparison to other sports?
I'm not sure. It's just a numbers-based game, I think, where a lot of stuff is based on numbers. It's always been that way. And I'm not sure why. I just think that there's, you got 9 guys out there and that do a lot of different things. And it's always been numbers-based, and always will be. And I think it's just getting more and more numbers-based with all the analytical stuff that's going on. So I just think it just comes with the game of baseball. The numbers come along with it.
And thinking about a question like that, I wonder if part of it is that because announcers have so much time between pitches and things and have to just fill up stuff, that they're constantly throwing numbers out. So numbers become such an important thing because you're just looking to fill airspace.
Right, and it's fun. Yeah, and that's a good analogy. And it's funny because I say all the time, even when we're a recruiting guy, well, a lot of times that's all we have to go off of is numbers. It's such a numbers-based game, and a lot of times in my situation, that's what I'm always looking at, right or wrong, because I can't see a guy personally. A lot of times all I have to go off of is numbers.
Michael from Eastboro would like to know, what are good things to do in the off-season to stay in baseball shape?
Usually when I played, I got away from the game for about a month and let my body recover. I don't know what the schedule is for him personally, but you got to get away from it at times and give your body a break at times. I'm a big believer in that. You can't just go nonstop all the time. Your body needs a break like everything else. I always used to take a month off, and then I'd just get in the gym. I would get in the gym and start my workout routine right away after about 3 weeks to a month off, and get right back in the gym and get my strength back and continue to work on my strength. And then I kind of ease into everything else, ease into some speed and agility stuff for my legs as I got closer to the season, and then ease into hitting and throwing and taking ground balls. Just all the logistics of playing the game that you're going to be doing on a daily basis out there in the grind. So just taking care of your body, just doing a lot of, I was a speed guy, so I was a big speed and agility guy in the off season. I know that varies from player to player. Obviously, your power guys aren't going to work on as much speed and agility, but footwork was very important to me. So just getting in the gym and getting a good workout routine. I'm a very routine-oriented guy. And I think you got to find that good routine that fits whatever facet of the game that you need to work on.
Kevin, I'm curious off of what you've said here. I think somebody asked us a question about this a few weeks ago. Do you think that it's kind of a bad idea that a person goes and plays winter ball somewhere, so they're like playing baseball year round? Is that bad and not really giving their body a break?
Well, I think if they do go play winter ball, they are going to give themselves a break, either before they go or after they go, maybe before spring training. I think they're getting a break at some point. They're just have an opportunity maybe to make some more money and play the game that they love to play. And, I can't doubt them for that. But they also got to understand, especially pitching-wise, you got to look at your innings and see where you're at and take care of that body and take care of that arm because it does need a rest at times.
A person identifying himself as Yankees hater would like to know, is it just me or do others think that some of the hype around Derek Jeter and his accomplishments is a little overblown?
Well, you're never going to get me to agree with that because of the career that man had. I don't, once again, it goes back to our previous question, the wear and tear on a body, especially a shortstop, for so many years is incredible. And what he did in his career is phenomenal. And I guess it's easier for me to answer because I did it, and I played the position, and I was fortunate I got to do it for a while. And just the mental grind for a shortstop, because you're the leader on the field, and you're locked in every single pitch. And like I said, the physical wear and tear that playing the position in the middle of the infield takes on you. I tell you, I've been out of it for quite a while now, and my body continues to pay for it. That's for sure. So, no, I take nothing away from Derek Jeter and what he accomplished because it was something special.
Jim from Wichita asks, he hears a lot of injury reports about a person having turf toe. Could you explain what that is?
Boy, that's always been a myth. That's a good question. My belief in it, I've never had it. But from what I hear and understood, I think you have a lot of people describe it a different way, but it's just like a big time jammed toe, is what it feels like from what I've heard. And it's one of those weird injuries that you hear people talk about, turf toe. And I don't know if, Robert, you took the time to look it up and get a definition on it, because it's kind of one of those unknown things that a lot of people don't know. It's easy to say turf toe, but what exactly is turf toe? And the explanation I've always gotten is just like a severely, like jammed toe that even some trainers don't have an explanation for me about. So it's an unknown, I guess. Something that we all might need to look into further and get a correct answer if there is one. Exactly.
I totally get where he is coming from because you hear this, especially in football. You hear it all the time, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, football, you hear it a lot.
But I've never really understood what the thing was. Okay, so here's what we're reading from WebMD. Let's see what they tell us. Turf toe is a common term used to describe a sprain of the ligaments around the big toe joint.
There you go.
So I hope that answers for you there, Jim. So I would say...
I do know it's very painful from what I've heard. It's very, very painful. And like you said, anytime you're dealing with a ligament or anytime I describe it as like you maybe jammed it. Something got jammed and those ligaments are barking at you, saying they're tender and sore, and it's not a good situation. So,
I would take it you would then surmise that turf toe is described for a lot of things that may not be what we just read. Is that
exactly?
Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Trey from Wichita would like to know where you stand on the debate of the best basketball player of all time.
Michael Jordan.
Hands down, it sounds like. Okay.
Hands down for me. Right now. I mean, LeBron was what he was doing. He's a pretty special player. But I guess I might be a little biased. I grew up watching Michael. So pretty special times watching him and what he was able to do and all those championships he's won. And I know LeBron's making a name for himself too. And maybe when LeBron's done, that answer might change because LeBron is pretty special in his right and what he's done and just be able to start at the young age that he started and what he's accomplished. He's well on his way to at least making a fight and argument for it.
Ken would like to know from you, what is your strategy for playing fantasy football? Do you choose like running backs first, or do you have a specific strategy you go with?
Honestly, I don't have a specific strategy. I'm a go with my gut type guy and kind of just fill out my roster type guy. I know that time's coming, and we've been talking about it a lot lately on the bus, throughout the clubhouse and stuff. But it's always a fun time of year with playoff baseball, fantasy football, the NFL season starting. So it's always a fun time of year here. Those last 3 weeks of our season, because there's a lot going on and a lot of fun times. And fortunately, we're in the talk again of putting ourselves in the situation of fighting for a playoff spot again.
Our last question for the week, and a question I've been dreading all week long and believing that depending on Kevin's answer, we may have to edit it out. Luke would like to know, Kevin, is the guy who does this show with you as goofy as he seems?
That's great, Luke. And I might have to ask Luke Robertson, Robert, if that was him.
I thought so, too. I thought that was him, to be honest with you.
No, that's funny, bud. And I'm glad that you can laugh at that question, too, because I think we all have a goofy side to things. I mean, I feel like I can be goofy as well. And Luke, to answer your question, I don't know if goofy is the right word. I think Robert just has a love for the game and what he does and a passion for it. And maybe you can tell that by his goofy side to things. So I commend you, Robert, and your lighter side of things. And, just for you having fun with what you do, and I think that maybe that's the goofy side that comes out. So
I appreciate that, Kevin Page. I thought that was Luke Robertson, too, to be honest with you.
You know what? And after seeing that question today, after you sent it to me and talking about it, I'll make sure I ask him, and we'll get that in. We'll get that solidified next week. How about that?
Excellent. Thanks a lot for joining us this week, Kevin.
You got it, Robert. Have a great week.
You too. We want to thank manager Kevin Hooper for joining us this week on Short Hops. If you'd like to ask the Wichita Wingnuts skipper questions of your own, please send them to us at askkevin@minorleaguesportsreport.com. That's askkevin@minorleaguesportsreport.com. Please have your questions to us by Friday at midnight so we can give the Wichita Wingnuts skipper a couple of days to review those questions before we record our show on Monday morning. We want to thank Kevin for joining us again this week. I also appreciate his candor about what he really thinks about me. I am Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report. We look forward to seeing you next week